Okay, so this is the bulkheads, the upper bulkhead starting to get erected. This is mid-February. There's the stem butt blocked in place with more of the upper bulkheads erected. A lot of scarfing to make stringers to run those upper bulkheads, a lot more stringers because this is a U.S. Coast Guard certified vessel. More work on the ACAs, putting in spacers where they interface with the hulls. There they are, cleaned up a little bit in the shop, but then the weather got good and we went outside to continue the work outside. There's Joe and Dave working, and coming up here is me working on the rudders. You can see the rudders there with Joe and Dave working on the ACAs, and then here's me in my full winter glory with my favorite tools working on the rudders, and then cleaning up the ACAs, getting the excess glue off of them, drips and drabs, and looking, I guess, sort of like a homeless werewolf would be the way I describe myself. But as dirty as I look, the ACAs look really clean when I'm done with them. All those stringers then had to get the edges routed, and we tried using a routing table to run them rather than running the router. This made for an 80-foot long setup and required all hands. In the end, I don't know if this was any more effective than running the router up and down the work rather than running the work along the router, but it was kind of fun. Kate went through Quantico, and she brought in MREs one day, which Dave ate, but I think he likes pizza better. Around the same time, we finally got our certification after 4 months of waiting from the Coast Guard that this is going to be a T-boat. There it is, stamped plans, approved. Very excited about that. We began painting the bilges because the access to them is a lot better before this upper top sides go up. So we got the bilges painted. Here's a pattern for one of the additional bulkheads that the Coast Guard is going to have us install in the boat, and more work on the ACAs. We fiberglass them. Here's the crew cleaning up after the fiberglassing. Here's Dave with a jig that we made to cut the notches for the additional bulkheads, the additional stringers. So that gets clamped to each of the bulkheads, and the stringer notches get cut, and then the stringers get installed, and there they are. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Moving along. Once the stringers are installed, we start fitting the top sides. First we dry fit them. This is kind of an all-hands effort because the wood is contentious, but it comes together. You can see the difference. And then they get taken back down, and the stringers get epoxied and prepped for gluing. Looks really, really pretty. All that wood, flowing lines, very boat buildy. Posed picture, all hands on deck to get the glue on the stringers. The open time on the glue is actually pretty long. It's not that urgent, but it's a lot easier with all hands. And there's one side with the top side installed and one side with the stringers. The top sides are held in place with screws and washers. While that was going on, I ran into the city and had to take a test to get my auxiliary sail endorsement for my master's license, which I passed. Meanwhile, the crew kept the boat moving along, so that's nice to be able to have the boat move along without me being there, and that looks pretty darn good. I like this picture a lot. And again, then back to me and my favorite tool, grinding away, but you can see with the arrival of spring, I'm starting to cut back on the amount of hair. There's both hulls with all the uppers, and then beginning the glass work. One hull has been completely glassed, and one hull is half finished. You can see the wrap in this next shot on the stern. The port hull has been completely fiberglassed, and the starboard hull just needs one more side. And then here's me, halfway through the fairing process, starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be done soon.